Can someone let me know when you see the slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you, Parul. So I request everybody else's mic to be on mute. Okay, so we get no background noise. When I pause in between for some discussion or feedback, that's the time you can unmute. Yeah. So this is what I've been teaching since almost the last 20 years now. The list on the left-hand side is what I started with in 2005. And then later, with more learning, more experimenting, attending courses and all, then I started adding the other aspects in the right-hand side. Today, for achieving weight loss, we are going to use diet and nutrition, acupressure, organ cleanses, herbal medicine, sun yoga, the 5 elements therapy, and also the natural health therapy. Okay, then, yes, later in the group, I will share with you some things with mineral therapy also. Natural moderate exercise we'll cover today. And if required later, we can use essential oils. So this is today's workshop, and yeah. So healthy weight loss is not about a crash diet that makes you lose a lot of weight first, and then once you get off that diet, your weight starts coming back again. It is also not about reducing the amount of food you eat. You can eat the same amount of food or even more volume or weight of food, and you will not put on weight, but you should know which are the non-fattening foods. And you should know them with the science behind them, which is what I will explain today. And it is also not about exercising 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening to wear out your joints at the age of 45, 50, 55. Till then, you'll, later after another 10, 15 years to get a walking stick and knee replacement surgery and all of that. So, what is a moderate exercise? We will come to that part. And it is also not about fasting in the so many different types of models that keep on coming out. Yes, fasting has got a good place, and we will take up that also today, sometime in between, so you understand that it is artificial behavior, that human beings are the only species who are fasting on this planet, doing deliberate fasting. Okay, and what are other species doing? That I will cover a little later. So now, how food plays a major role, everybody knows about this. So we'll get a little bit into understanding what is food for human beings. That is very important. So how can we figure that out? Today, nowadays, it's the time of such great research and all that people are doing over food. So can we learn about it from doctors, the typical MBBS doctor? So problem is they don't have the subject of nutrition in their course. They don't learn it in detail. So we are not able to learn it from doctors. Then even after you become a doctor, then maybe some people specialize in nutrition and they get a PhD. Now, if I bring about 8, 10, uh, nutritionists with PhDs in the discussion room, and I open the, for discussion on what is the healthy diet for human beings. And we have about 1, 2 hours. All of you know that after 1, 2 hours, there will be a lot of arguments. There will be no consensus. Somebody's trying to push the paleo diet. Somebody's trying to impress everybody about keto. Somebody's saying vegan, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, and otherwise they will go to the Egyptian diet or whatever. So there is no agreement on that. So even people who are so well researched, there is no consensus. And here, you know, the donkey unfortunately is the most maligned, and when we think of which is the most stupid animal around, we say it's the donkey. So but do we realize that without a single nutrition, lecture on nutrition, the donkey knows what is its food, and it will not eat things that are not its food. So this is the first indicator that you get, wow, maybe nutrition has got to do nothing with the mind and studying and research and documents and lab tests. Because the donkey or any other species on this planet, they don't do any of this. Yet they know what is their food every time. So my next slide will get into that. We'll spend about, just give you some experiment that you can do yourself or at home or anybody, with anybody on this planet. You can do this experiment about food. What is the food for that person? Because at the end of the day, after all the lectures on nutrition, we finally want to know what is the best food for my body. So it is that experiment. Now, those of you who have seen my TED talk, it is the same thing. But in the TED talk, I just asked four questions. But here today, I will ask you six questions because it's got a little detail, more detail since that time. So, for those of you who have heard this part, yeah, it's a repetition, but yeah, please pay attention and pick up finer points that you may have not picked up earlier, because this will help you understand or explain to anybody what is a healthy diet. So I call them laws of nature and laws of God. And in this exercise, I am not telling anybody anything. I'm just asking questions. And our God given intelligence in the right circumstances will give us the right answer. The problem is, most of us across the planet, human beings, we are not in the right circumstances, in the right frame of mind. So many things are artificial, imposed, and dumped on us that we don't know what is truth anymore. So, now this first law, nutrition has got nothing to do with the mind. It is a five senses experience. So, if you see animals in the wild or National Geographic, if you're watching it, then you will see that animals, they're just going about doing their thing in life, whatever it is, protecting their territory, searching for new other territory, uh, searching for a mate, protecting their children, building their homes. And in the process of life, hunger happens as a feeling inside the body in some space, which we know as we call it stomach or maybe solar plexus, right? So that's how hunger happens for all species on the planet. And for human beings, how does it happen? It is all according to the time of the day and what we have set up. So I start this experiment with each one of you. We just imagine that I invite all of you to my house in Goa, and probably you've come by bus, train, plane, whatever it is. And by the time you reach my house, it is about 5 p.m. in the evening. And then I ask you, are you hungry? And you say, yes, it's 5 o'clock now, it's tea time. Yes, sure, I could do with some tea and snacks. So this is what we think about food. We have it at certain predetermined times. And then when we do that, we end up with overeating because we don't connect it with hunger. So then I said, stop. It's tea time, I know. But are you hungry? And hunger means this kind of vacuum in your stomach where there is, hunger pangs. So probably everybody is not feeling that hungry. You've eaten a little bit, couple of hours, maybe at 2 o'clock you had lunch. So then we wait for hunger to come on for everybody. And probably by about 6, 7 p.m., then you start feeling hungry. And I tell you at 5 o'clock itself, okay. So we will do this experiment where we will wait for you to be hungry. And at that time, you give me a list of all the things that you eat. Okay, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, raw, cooked, whatever. Give me a list of all the things that you eat. And then I will get all of these things for you on a dining table, and then we will start the experiment. So you said, okay, so from probably 5 to 7, you take about half an hour and you write a list of 300 things. Somebody's put down mutton biryani. Somebody's put, palak paneer. Somebody, since you come to, Goa, you write down mangoes, chickus, jackfruit, or whatever, cucumber, tomato, and then somebody wants, because it's Goa and it's known for seafood, you ask for masala fry, bangda, or whatever, surmai. So that is also written down. And Goa is known for pigs and pork. So some of you who are non-vegetarians and eat pork, you may ask for, glazed pork ribs. So that is a side section cut out of the pork where there's, gravy put. Um, so you write down that also. And so everybody gives their list. And in this list, you can also put down some foods that you have never eaten in your life, but you think it's worthwhile eating. And if, Daryl can give it to me, fine. Let me try it for the first time. So somebody puts down caviar, somebody puts down kangaroo meat. Okay. So at 7 o'clock, everybody comes, and then you are at the dinner table, and all the food is laid out there. And I said, well, okay, since you're hungry, everybody go into the dinner room and have your dinner. So everybody is in the dinner room, and you go to eat your chicken biryani, your bhangra masala fry, palak paneer, mangoes, and uh, whatever, rice and chicken biryani. But as you go to the dinner table, you say, okay, I was looking for, somebody's looking for chicken biryani, and you don't see a prepared chicken biryani there, but you see two, three chickens in the room. And you see basmati rice, raw basmati rice. You see turmeric powder, pepper powder, bay leaves, salt. Everything is there. And the person who is looking for the masala fry bangda, you see a big tub of sea water, and in that you can see some bangdas, mackerels swimming over there. And well, then somebody does see the mangoes over there. Okay, there are some mangoes there. The jackfruit, a big jackfruit. Uh, so then you say, now what do we do with the, chicken biryani and all? Are we supposed to cook? And do we have to make dinner? So then I said, no, what I've done is very simple. Things have to be like this only because you are now facing the first law of nature and the first law of God. And it applies to all species on the planet who eat any food. And that law says that God has provided to all species on the planet who eat food on a daily basis. God has provided food, or nature has provided food in its natural form. All the work that the eaters have to do is find the food and eat the food. There is no such thing as cooking, as frying, as baking, as cutting, mixing, grinding. There's no such thing. So when you think about it, all other species on the planet. And today we will just do a comparative of species a little closer to us, which I call sentient mammalian vertebrates. What is sentient? It is the five senses: sight, smell, taste, hearing, and feeling, touch. Sentient. Mammalians means those who are born and their mothers are feeding them breast milk. And then vertebrates, of course, vertebral column, like we know, all human beings have a chakra system, an energy system, seven energy centers in the entire spinal column that radiate energy out. This I've detailed in my book, Become Healthy or Extinct. What are these energy centers? Which are the four components that make them? How do they function? How do thoughts, emotions, and all that get converted into hormone secretions? And how that changes the five elements balance in your body: earth, water, fire, air, space. Even how these hormonal secretions They change your weight, whether you're excess weight or you're underweight or you're maintaining good weight. If you're maintaining good weight, then most of your hormonal secretions will be in balance. So I will go a little more into detail later when we come to the section of hormone imbalance. And there I will explain how hormones control body weight. So coming back to this sentient mammalian vertebrates, a good comparison. So we won't compare ourselves to the cockroach or to the earthworm, but certainly we'll compare to the cat, dog, rat, cow, goat, squirrel, a giraffe, elephant, all of that. And why? Why that comparison? One simple reason is that none of them are having high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, obesity, hormonal imbalance, cataract, glaucoma, arthritis, IBS, all of that. Yeah. And second reason, none of them are dying of sickness. They are all dying of old age. Unless there are sometimes some conditions where there is hardly any food left over there, so they're dying of hunger, or some monkey falls down from a tree and they've broken their leg, so then we know they're not going to be able to get food and they will die younger than the healthier monkeys. And human beings, we like to show our knowledge and how smart we are. And somebody will say, see, my uncle, he was living in the village, he used to drink local liquor every day, he was a smoker and this and that, and he lived to be 101. So then my reply to them is, well, if he wasn't a smoker and drinker and all of that, he may have lived to 111. Did you do his postmortem of his body when he was 101? You do of his or anybody on the planet who's dying, even at 101, 105, 110, you will see that they did not die of old natural causes. They did not die of old age. They died because of organ failure. You will see cholesterol, plaque in the arteries. You will see hardened wall of the hearts, kidney weakness. There's many reasons. If you want an example of old age, then in the group, I will share later, maybe tomorrow morning, the edition of this continued medical spiritual education magazine, which I was an editor. And I shared an article there, published an article of a Chinese herbalist who lived to be 256 years. He just ended up naturally having 20 wives and 200 children. He was a martial artist and he fought in both the world wars. So his birth records and drafting in and out of the Chinese army is all there. So if you go and look at his face, you'll be able to count maybe 1,000 wrinkles. Okay, so that is natural aging. So any human being dying below the age of 200 is dying of accelerated aging and sickness. So in my book, I've written here, by following the right, food practices, health practices and all, I will live to 150 years. And some of you know that what a bad, I almost died in 2004 from 14 years of severe sickness. So my body went through a lot. And that helped me, learn all the right healthcare sciences and how to reverse illnesses. So if that hadn't happened to me, definitely I would touch 200. Okay, so yeah. So this is the first example of, other species. So now everybody's there in that dining room, and you can see all the food is in its natural state. Somebody asked for mutton biryani. There are two goats standing in the room. There is one cow standing in the room, and there are all dried grains. There's dried dal, rajma, everything in its dried natural form. Yeah. And the pork ribs, the pig is not going to just stay in the room. Everybody knows. Pig is totally paranoid. He'll be howling, jumping all over the place. So what we've done is we've unfortunately killed a pig and we've cut out that pork ribs and that is lying on the table. So now from all of you, who is going to, try and eat that raw pork ribs? Who's going to try and just pluck out some fish and try to bite its head off? or what are you going to eat since you're hungry and you're under the first, yeah, law of nature, the first law of God for any species who's eating any food. Yeah, anybody can unmute and tell me. There are fruits there, then there is vegetables, tomato, cucumber, carrot, beetroot, because some of it is all come in those recipes that you asked for. And there is, yeah, potato, onion, cabbage, cauliflower, dal, rajma, rice, wheat grains. Yeah, there are walnuts, almonds also. And there are then the living and the dead animals. So, what is everybody going to eat? You have to answer this question for yourself. Let me know, just unmute.
I would start with tomato, cucumber, maybe cauliflower also.
So, you don't eat fruits?
Sorry, I missed out that one. I would start with fruits.
Yeah, so let's say it's from the left to right. So, which is your favorite fruit?
Mostly
Couple of your
banana, apple.
banana and apple. Yeah. So there are some amazing, plantains in Goa. We call them mondochiki. That means they are the black, yellow bananas. They are sweeter, almost double the sweetness of any elchi kela or the normal kela, even that red, Kerala banana. They are so sweet that I make ice cream out of them. I just put cashew nuts, water, and that fully ripe banana in the mixer. Not a grain of sugar, not even one molecule of organic jaggery. And that has been a hit on the Earth Keepers market. We used to sell it during our market. Then even jackfruits, fully ripe jackfruits, no need of any sugar. Okay, when we would take fully ripe mangoes, sometimes we needed to add a little bit of date. So when you have that amazing banana that's smelling so good and tasting so sweet, and if I give you banana and cucumber, everybody knows cucumber doesn't stand a chance. So naturally, now why did Narendra go for the banana? Why did, for example, he did not go and say, "Oh, I need protein. Give me some dried grains of rice or wheat. Let me try biting them." If my teeth don't, chip off or something. So why do we do this? It is so the second law of nature, law of God, is working upon us. And what does that law say? It says that these are the five God-given senses, right? So when you look at that pork ribs, suppose I take you to the pork ribs. Come, let's do a experiment with you and the pork ribs. So I say, look at the pork ribs very closely. Bring it right in front of your face. Oh, there's a pink skin, white and pink. Oh, black hair, some are brown, some hairs are white. Okay. Yellow, fat layer, mucus layer, the transparent mucus. Then you see tendons, you see broken bones, you see blood clotting, and the smell, right? The smell of blood and mucus. What happens? Your five senses react. You don't like the sight of it when you see blood, mucus, and all. Suddenly, there's a subconscious reflection of your own body, of injury, and of hurt, death. There's a phobia. So you don't like to look at it close. Of course, you don't like to that smell of blood and mucus. Then I'm sure nobody's going to go and taste it. Even if you taste it, you know how it's going to taste. Pretty hopeless. And then, so three senses: sight, smell, taste. Next is hearing. So, or feeling. Before that, touch, right? So suppose I take your hand and I just push it in the pork ribs and I, say, mash it and mix it with the blood and mucus. What happens? There's a violent reaction from you. Take off your hand and you say, this is no way to treat a guest. Where is the washroom? You go to the washroom, you soap yourself up and all that. Yeah. And then even after washing that, you smell your hand again. Oh, little trace of it again. One more round of soap. And so you get into paranoia, that smell and that touch of raw flesh meat. That's the touch. And then last is the sense of hearing. So, what was the sound made when you took that thing from nature in its natural form and you try to put it down your throat, right? The pig is screaming so badly, it requires a person with a gun and two dogs and go out to catch a pig. He wakes up the whole village. So also, you know that if you go after the chicken, it's going to be, clucking, howling, jumping all over the place. So we don't like to hear those sounds of animals being killed and put in our mouth. But when you go and pluck a banana or a pomegranate, an apple, Peru or whatever, there is a sound made, but it's not, we don't feel violent about it. We are all fine. Okay, it's a nice sound. So this is the, second law of nature or God, which says that the five God-given senses of every sentient being tells it every time what is its food and what is not its food. Now, if you had brought your pet dog or cat and it's also in the room, what would they go for? Would the dog and cat be going for the mango or the banana? No, they would first go for some of the meat. We all know that the cat, it prefers fish before it goes for meat. We know that the dog prefers meat before it goes for fish. Fish is the last option. It feels the fish is smelly. You have to really cook the, fish and take off the skin and all for the dog to find it tasty. So even those that chicken that's there in the room, that goat that is there, the cow that is there, you leave them loose from their strings and they will also, their five senses will guide them to their right food. So this is the second law. Most people go, everybody will go and look at the fruits first. They seem the most tasty and they're smelling good also. So you have fruits for this first meal. And then that's at 7 o'clock. So then, of course, we sit down and then we're chatting about various things. And then it's about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And, after eating fruits, you're going to feel hungry within the next 2 hours. So probably by 9, 10, we wait for you to get hungry enough. And by 11 p.m. at night, you're really hungry. And I say, okay, go back to the dinner place and go and eat whatever you want. So when you go there, you notice one thing. I've taken away all the fruits. There are no fruits. So now what is your second choice? What are you going to eat? Let's say the nuts and the fruits were together. Okay, so the nuts are also not there, like cashew nut, monkey nuts, and all of that. Taken them out. Now you have the cabbage, the broccoli, the raw cauliflower. You have the carrot, cucumber, tomato, beetroot, the raw rice, dal, rajma, and the pork ribs, and fish are swimming there, chicken, goat is there in the room. What will you eat?
The vegetables.
Yes, so you will go for the edible vegetables. So generally, you'll try to you make a salad of, maybe there are some salad leaves. So you'll take that, you'll take the cucumber, tomato, and probably carrot also, little slices of beetroot. And you prefer that definitely over raw broccoli, raw cabbage, and cauliflower, and the dals. So everybody is enjoying that kind of food in that meal. And then, well, dinner's over. Everybody goes to sleep, and then we do the next morning. We do that experiment again. We wait for hunger, 7, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. I think by 9 a.m. everybody is going to be hungry. So then again, going to the dinner room. That time, these edible vegetables are not there. Now it's just the cabbage, cauliflower, palak, uh, snake gourd, bottle gourd, bitter gourd, ridge gourd, pumpkin, then whatever your French beans, cane leaves, spring beans, all the normal vegetables that you cook. What are you going to eat? And of course, again, the dals and all are still there only. Nobody has touched them, the beans and the live and dead animals. What will you eat? Of course, at first you will say that I don't eat raw cabbage and all, and then we can just sit over there, keep on talking and discussing for another 2 hours. Well, then by about 11, 12, you're fed up and it's your hunger pangs are really bad. Then you say, now I'm, losing energy and I'm too hungry. So, but I say these are your only options. And this is not so unnatural. This phase of certain foods being available and not being available, it actually happens in the seasons in the year. If we follow naturally, now we are importing something from here and there in different countries, wherever it's growing at that time. This is how we have manipulated the food system. But in our place, there, wherever you stay for a long time, certain fruits come in certain seasons, then they go. Then certain other things come. Then root vegetables are at some times. Tomatoes is the arid, season and region crop. It's not going to grow in rainy season because the flowers are small and they get battered by the rain. So you don't get tomatoes in the rainy season. So this is something like that, right? Even naturally, when does rice and wheat grow? Only after the rainy season. So I'll come with little detail on that because it's related to obesity. When we don't want to respect that nature gives us rice and wheat only after the rains in the October, and then it's available in November, December. And what are all other species doing with that rice and wheat? When do they start having it? When do they stop having it? And how come we are having it all year round? And what are its implications? So I'll come to that. So this is like the seasons in the year. So you are finally there, and it's these vegetables, and you're feeling really hungry, and there's no option, and there's no cooking. And I'm saying, don't no add. There is nobody adding salt out there. All of these species who are healthy, nobody's adding salt to their food. Nobody's cooking, nobody's frying, right? So I remind you of all of that, and okay, then you say that's the case. Then let me try a little bit of raw cabbage, or some quite raw string bean or a French bean. A raw string bean is actually tasty. People eat it around here. Even very raw. What is that? Okra, for example. That's not big when it's tender. People eat that also. It is also a delicacy in some cuisines. The raw tender okra without cooking. So probably eat 2, 3 of these edible, they're not so edible and tasty, but you eat it because there's hunger, you don't have any option. So sometimes seasons are like that, there is scarcity. Okay, you do that, and then that lunch is over. And then since you've not eaten much, the next meal is there probably at 4 o'clock in the evening. None of the vegetables are there. It's just the dried rice, dried wheat, dried rajma, dal, the live and dead animals. What are you going to eat? Again, more discussion starts that this is not the way to treat guests, and how are you doing this to us? We were not expecting this in Goa. That goes on for 2 hours, and then I say, sorry, there's no option. What will you do to survive? What? And then you say, okay, let me try a little rice, keep it in the mouth for 4, 5 minutes. It becomes a little soft, and then some people may think of munching it. Okay, if that's the only option and nothing else is there. So you do a little of that at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, evening, and the meal is over. Of course, you are not satisfied. You're going to be hungry by 6 p.m. And then at 6 p.m., the last option is there, the live and dead animals. There is no rice, rajma, anything. So how many people are going to eat that? And not only one time. Can you eat it twice, thrice? Can you do it day after day? The raw fish and all of that. And the pork ribs. And how about, just catching that chicken and biting its head off, pulling out the feathers, and nobody does that. We call it inhuman. So that's the end of the experiment. You finally say no, experiment over. I can't do this. Yeah. So now reflecting on the lessons of the experiment. In this experiment, I never told you anything. I did not teach you anything. I just brought you into the right environment. That is the living environment for all species on the planet. And you built the food pyramid. How? You only said that fruits are first, Then you said tasty vegetables are second. Then you said not so tasty vegetables are third. Then you say when I don't get non-tasty vegetables, I will eat untasty vegetables just to survive. And then you said in times of starvation, drought, and when seasons change and nothing is available, we will consider doing eating grains and all of that. So cultures have been just soaking grains overnight, making them into sprouts and calling them amazing life-giving food. So that's all our sprouts, right? And somebody could have done that also. When I gave them the grains and all, they could have said, okay, give my 1 kilo portion at night, you have soaked it in water, and next morning you would have got sprouted grains and a full meal. That's what cultures have been doing for a long time. No cooking involved. So nature also soaks grains, right? And for 8, 12 hours, then they sprout and then life comes back to them as a growing plant. So that's natural, it's not unnatural. So that's how you build the food pyramid. Now we will use this food pyramid later when we see how weight gain happens. So everything is there in this 15-minute experiment. You can do it actually with any human being on the planet, and the same answer comes. This answer came right from the time we were starting to, as human beings, when we are Adam and Eve, and it's true for every human being now. As long as we are human beings and have these senses, it will be there for the next 10,000 years. So now I say that, in my TEDx talk, I said that I can eat meat, but it must not look like meat. Not that red, that white, that mucus, that yellow fat. No, you make it like make it brown. Brown is a nice color. Evenly brown. That's good for me. You make it like evenly green, haryali kebab. You make it evenly orange like tandoor. Okay, but just I don't want to see what a dead animal looks like. So I can eat meat, but it should not look like meat. It should not taste like actually what meat tastes. Should not taste like meat. It can taste like a mixture of bay leaves added with turmeric, added salt, added jeera, added dhania. I mean, my body is thinking it's eating all plants because this is all plant material, right? So it should not taste like meat. It can taste like plants. That's fine. It should not smell like meat also. That's why those bay leaves and other fragrance. Okay. So should not look like meat, smell like meat, taste like meat. It should not feel like meat. That is why in the Western cultures, when they were eating, predominantly meats, um, it seems that they had a problem, with the first contact it being meat. That's why they brought that fork and spoon in between. That means just poke that thing, and the first interaction as it comes close, your smell is full, and then as it touches the tongue, your taste is full. Okay. So, but in India, pieces, whether it's non-vegetarian, they had absolutely no problem of using their hands and touching the bengan, smashing it, mashing the rice in it, mashing the dal, and putting it and licking their fingers. They had no problem. So this is touch also. And then of course you know about the sound. So this is called, so what is modern cooking? Modern cooking is the art of fooling the five senses. And so then you get the next law of nature or God, which says that you can only put a food into a human being's mouth that is not meant for human beings after you have fooled all its five senses. So this is what we do in cooking. So that's why I tell people, I urge that if you will keep your spices and your masala and all that lesser, then there's a bigger chance that you will be eating food that is actually meant for the human body. So how do we know that French beans and cane leaves are just one step from our natural food? Because just a little bit of salt and you can eat cane leaves, French beans, you can eat so many of the green vegetables, right? Um, Something like rice also, maybe it's two steps away. Just adding salt to rice, maybe you can eat it for 3, 4, 5 meals. After that, you want some more flavor on it. So there has to be some turmeric or pepper, dhania, something giving it some flavor, some pulao. Everybody will say, yeah, I eat white rice, but then why do you mix curry and gravy in it? So you are changing the taste of rice. So these are the laws, and then I'll open the that presentation again, and I will just go to the last law. I hope everybody can see it. So that was, yeah, the second law was that the reason for eating food is hunger. If there is no hunger, there's no need to eat food. I did this experiment. I mean, for 3 years, I was sun yoga. So that technique, I learned it from Sun Yogi Uma Shankar, my teacher, who lived on sunlight for 10 years without any food and hardly any water. He was in the Himalayas, so once in a while he used to eat some snow. And then I came across even greater, yogis than him, who had more austere practices like Elitom Elamin. He's a black man who was a Navy SEAL in USA. Then he became a preacher man. Then he became from non-vegetarian to vegetarian to vegan to living on sunlight and then living just on energy. So now I think it's about 7 years that he has not eaten anything or drunk any water. And there have been a few yogis like this in the past, very few, uh, who have lived without food. So for them, yeah, there is no such thing as hunger. But for all of us, mere mortals, we this is a law of nature for all species on the planet who are eating anything, that hunger comes first and then food. When we eat food according to time, we overeat food, and because of that overeating, we put on excess weight. And so we are the only species on the planet who have invented the artificial science of fasting. And we've become experts in it. Water fast, fruit fast, Ekadashi, 1 day fast, uh, 3 days, 72 hours fast, autophagy, all of those things, 1 week, right? In nature, animals do not do deliberate fasting. They only eat when they're hungry and they eat how much they want at that time. Of course, a lion will eat something that is, as much as it can because that's its cycle. Whatever it's eaten, a deer or something, it'll stuff itself and then it does not need to eat for the next 4 5 days because the digestion of that breakdown of the deer only takes 2 3 days. And then they're getting the nutrients for the next 5 6 days. So, but you have seen, yeah, dog and cat sometime only when they have eaten something bad, they vomited it out. Then they wait for the body to stabilize. They don't eat anything for 5 6 hours. They go around roaming and search for some grasses and some medicinal leaves. Through the smell and taste, they know it and they eat those to, fix their gut. And then after some time, they'll start eating. So that's not deliberate fasting. That is, they stopped so the body could, take out some impure food or toxic thing. So this was the third law when you all saw in the dining room, everything in its natural form. And as you all went selecting food, it was through your five senses that you all built the food pyramid. And the last one, you can only feed the human body food not meant for it after you fool all the five God-given senses. The next is, think about this. God has given every being that eats food within the containment of its own body. What is the containment of your own body? It is just your naked body. It's not with jeans and a belt and a gun and a dagger or a spear or a bow and arrow and all of that. It's just your naked body. Like all other animals and plants and birds and all, they're all naked. Of course, they do have feathers and all, but no, nothing on their body that's made of anything else. So God has given all species who eat within the containment of their own body the complete mechanism of acquiring and eating their food. So if you say fish is my food, then I will take you in a boat in the middle of the river ocean and throw you in the water and you catch a single small even 1 3 centimeter fish and show me. You won't be able to catch that fish, right? You will leave you with a in an open field with a country fowl over there and you'll be running after it. Hardly you get 2 inches close to catching its neck or its tail. It's opened its wings, it's flying around, it's on top of the tree. You can't catch it. So Even, a cat, that cat, if there's a rat in the room, within 5 minutes, the cat is going to catch the rat. But with your own hands, without a stick or slippers or whatever, you're not going to be able to catch the rat. And you have the cow also. The cow is not going to run anywhere. Show me any human being who has ever killed a cow with their nails and their teeth and caused any damage to it. We know that the cow, when it gets pain, it's going to horn you, kick you so badly that you'll have broken bones, won't be able to get up. And then lastly, in my book, it gives some more details of the entire the design of the teeth of human beings, and also the digestive tract and the digestive juices of human beings. They all show that we are designed to eat only plant material, things that are not running and jumping away for us. They are rooted to the ground. So, sorry, a little of disturbance. So, this was the first part about the food, the main experiment. Now, the resultant is that you have understood this is the top level of nutrition that I teach. And it's an inquiry of every human being. They have this science within them. So, the truth comes out this is the top level what is food for human beings and what is not. And then the second level of food. If you are now having excess weight, today is about excess weight. Others just cataract, glaucoma, kidney stones, and so many other things. So during every sickness phase, there are certain foods that you should not eat or eat less of. And then at that time, you should eat certain, excess of certain foods. Maybe now I will give you foods that help with weight loss. And sometimes people, for their sickness, they will eat certain supplements. So this is during the healing phase. You will subtract certain foods and eat certain foods. That is the next level of nutrition. And once you are through your healing phase and you're perfectly healthy, the last level of nutrition is eat according to your body type. That is your body type of the balance of the five elements. It's called Kaf, Pit, and Vayu. So we'll come to that section. And I will also give an example of what the five elements are. For example, even which is the first food any human being gets? Mother's breast milk. And I ask you, which are the elements in that milk? Very obviously, you say it's liquid, so there's water element. And the inquiry is that is there earth element also in there? Is there fire, air, space also in it? Some people may say no, then we realize later. It is from that milk that our bones got made, calcium, magnesium, everything. So the bones are that part of, the earth element, solid. So then we realize, yeah, milk has got components in lower percentage, but of the earth element too. You drink too much of milk, you'll get acidity. So it's got fire element too. Air and space is there, but it's very, very minimal. Now you take a groundnut, it's hard, that majority is earth element. You press it down on the table, you'll get oil out of it. So, next is water element. Eat too much of groundnuts, acidity, fire element, air and space is less. Maybe watermelon has got some degree of at least air and space. So similar other fruits, lighter foods. So now I will just continue with this. We'll come to that in our balanced diet. We'll look at how much of, uh, raw and cooked food that are representing these five elements we can take. The last thing about nutrition that I teach is from, I teach living sciences. Now, what you went through today, this experiment, I call living sciences. Living sciences are those which have operating principles in nature that you can check out and experiment with any day. So this is the experiment that we did. These are not what I call dead sciences in a laboratory. You go, see it working in nature in all sentient mammalian vertebrates, and you understand, okay, this is nutrition. So, in that principle, there is first one scientific principle that in 100% natural environment, you can eat 100% natural food and be healthy. Because in the natural environment, the five elements also in balance and they're coming into your body every day. So, for example, in the forest, suppose you were living in the forest and you were a nomad or a villager, you're walking bare feet. So, through that bare feet, you get earth element. Then you're drinking water from brooks and streams, so you're getting the pure water element. It's got electrical charge because it's falling through brooks and streams. Because of its thrashing and crashing, it is microclustered, small molecules of water that get into your cellular structure and hydrate you completely. It is little alkaline in nature, that's the third property. It has got minerals in it, that is the fourth property. It has got microbiome in it, that is living probiotic bacteria. Okay, so that's the fifth property. And compared to that, in the city, so what is the city? City is the artificial environment. Okay, so why is it artificial? I will come to that. So, because in the city, just taking the water element, that water is coming from a dam. That water has been stagnant in the dam for a long time. So, because it's not moving, it has lost its electrical charge. So, one parameter down. Secondly, they are thick water molecules because the water is extracted by pumps from the bottom of the dam, those pipes, and then they are pumped to your house. So, the entire hydraulic pressure of trillions of liters of water, it compresses water molecules and clubs them, and those thicker volume water molecules do not get into your cellular structure completely. That's why people in the city need to drink more water, but they're not getting microscopic cellular hydration. Now, the third thing is all those minerals and all that were picked up and flowing through the water, they become stagnant and they become silt and settle at the bottom of the lake. And it's all over the bottom of the lake, but the siphon, the pump is pumping only from certain area. So after the minerals and silt get sucked up from there, there's nothing, the rest is all left in the other parts of the lake. So you don't even get proper minerals. Then the thing is that because the water is stagnant, a lot of pathogens proliferate in that water. So finally, before the water comes to your house, they put chlorine in it and they kill all the living microbiome and also the harmful parasites. So you're getting dead water. So all these five, six parameters, and the water is stressed also through the taps and whatnot. They don't get your proper electrical charge. So what we're drinking in the city is dead water. Now, to make up for that artificial water, we have to have more fruits and all of those things, natural things that have got good mineralized water content in them that have got some living microbiome. So, this is what I'm talking about. The five elements in nature. So in nature, walking barefoot, you get earth element, you get actual water element. In nature or in remote villages, you get pure sunlight, which will make the proper vitamin D. In such villages that you see on the screen, we can't call that sunlight. That is sunlight that was coming to earth, and in the middle, it got interrupted by all our poisonous gases. We are getting radiation through those gases. So it is some different, diminished kind of sunlight. So that's the fire element: earth, water, fire. Air, of course, all of you know, we are not getting the air of the planet. We are getting the air of all these toxic gases. And space. Space is in our cities, we have too much of Wi-Fi, electricity, these LED and fluorescent bulbs that have got electromagnetic radiations. And those radiations, they diminish our own energy centers of our body, our chakra, our aura that radiates out from the human body for 1 to 2 inches. And as it gets lesser in its strength, it's called an auric body, which has got shades of, the aura has got shades of Vibgyor, violet, indigo, blue, green, and all of that. And the aura, as it gets thinner, it's got shades of white, gray, and black. gray, white when it's pure and vibrant, gray when there's contamination in terms of stress, emotions, and black when there are toxic energies also connected with our energy fields. So, so all of these in the city, we are not getting the natural five elements. So we have to compensate. Now, from where are we going to get the earth element that all other species on the planet are getting daily? We are not getting it because we're wearing footwear and we're staying on the fifth, second, or 22nd floor. So we need more earth element inside our body. So that's where cooked food comes in. When you cook rice and wheat and other things, then you're trying to get more earth element in your body. If you don't get that in the city, you start becoming very thin, start having dry skin, and insomnia, hair fall, all of that. So so this is that science. When in an altered environment, science demands that you balance the missing elements in their natural state by adding them through your food. So that's how cooked food comes in. So now somebody may ask, oh, in nature, how come the birds are sitting on trees? They're not getting earth element. Then you should take the sensitive, the multimeters and go and measure the root of the tree and the top of the tree. You'll see electricity running. So that's an electrical conductor, and the earthing of the birds are happening when they sit on the tree leaves branches also. So they are also getting birds are also getting earth element whenever they sit in. So this is what I have researched and found out, and which I've been getting success with my patients in their right body weight. It's also written in this page 109, 10 of my book, Food Combination Chapter. My book Become Healthy or Extinct. I'll be sharing the book with you all, the PDF in the group tomorrow morning. So it says 100% raw diet increases vayu. That means if you only eat raw fruits and vegetables, like salads and salad leaves and all of that, it has a tendency of increasing vayu or the air element in the body. Now, only a kapha body type person, that is a person who has an abundance of earth and water elements, can remain healthy on a 100% raw diet because they have an abundance of the other elements of earth and water. How to recognize kapha body type? I'll tell you some symptoms right now because people with the experience, they can look at anybody in 2 minutes tell their body type, like I can do. So I'll give you some symptoms. But before that, on my website, becomehealthyorextinct.com, you will see one section called Dosha Diet. Over there, you can go and do that test. There are about 20, 60 questions. You'll enjoy doing that. They are physical, mental, and emotional questions. And each question you have to answer with a score of 0, which means not at all. And then, half of the time I do this, half the time I don't. So you'll put a score of 5. And then if it's all the time your case, that means it may ask you something that, when sitting in a room of people, you are the one who's feeling hot the most and you ask for the AC and the fan to be put on. So is this true or is this false? For somebody who knows, yeah, that's true for me, they'll put a score of 10. If somebody says that, no, I'm never the first one to ask, but sometimes I do, they'll put a score of 5. And somebody says, no, 3, 4 people will say they're feeling hot, but I am still fine, I don't feel hot at all easily. They'll put a score of 0 or 1, right? And so there are questions like that. This is a physical question. Then there'll be questions about color and there'll be questions about smell. So once you do that experiment, you know your body type. So now symptoms of kapha body type, they will have very thick hair growth. They will have big pores on their skin. They will have a little bit of oily skin, and generally they will have a little bit of excess weight. So that's prominence of earth and water element. Then it says next a pitta body type. My body type is closer to this one. A pitta body type has a prominence of water and fire elements. So in such a person, movement, okay, and quick thinking and action, fire elements, they have that prominence in there. So Pitta body type person can do up to 75% raw diet. If they do 80, 85, 90 raw diet, then their Vayu symptoms increase. So that means air element in the body will go high. And symptoms of air element going high are dry skin, and then excess hair fall, body thinning out, losing weight, becoming very thin, and then, for example, not getting enough sleep at night. Okay, there's too much of air in the head. That's where that term came, airhead in the Western countries. Why airhead? Because that person is excessively talkative, much more than everybody else in the room. They are yapping all the time because they have too much air circulating in their head. So that is what keeps people up at night, insomnia, thoughts, never ending. So I'm just giving you a tip now for such people who are not getting sleep at night. Please don't have a fan blowing direct, or AC blowing on your face and up to your neck and chest. Okay, try to turn that fan away a little. Let it be on your pelvis or on your feet. And even if it's on your feet, if your feet are getting cold, then put a bed sheet or something. But avoid bio type people. Avoid direct because when you sleep at night, that's 7 to 8 hours. That same fan is blowing. It's not like the daytime. You move from here to there. The last is a Vata body type person. A person already has a prominence of air and space. They can only do up to 50% raw. That means don't go over 50% raw. If you're a Vata body type, if these are your symptoms, you're thin, you have dry skin, hair fall, insomnia, and you know, it's part of some people's job, like marketing and all that, to talk a lot. Like I'm talking a lot now because it's part of what I've chosen to do right now in this workshop. Otherwise, I'm not yapping all the time like this, right? So, air is not my dominant factor. But yes, when I sit down, write books, and do projects and think a lot, air in the head is going at a higher level. So, okay, what are the symptoms of overdoing raw cooked food? So, okay, both spelling mistakes. Cooked food. So see the dosha diet on becomehealthyvaccine.com. That's what I was just talking about. Okay, you can do that test and see your body type. Yeah. So I will stop this now for just some basic questions, and then we will get into look at the next slide. We'll get way deeper into this topic. Main categories of weight gain: dietary obesity, that is through channel of food, slowing down of digestive organs, then weight gain due to hormonal imbalance, weight gain due to thyroid imbalance, due to internal toxicity. What kind of toxicity? Once we put in the body compulsorily puts on weight to balance out toxicity. So I'll explain that. Besides these, there are another two, three conditions, which I will see in the next slide. But right now, I just want to stop here and give you an overall principle is that if you have got too much of body weight, excess body weight, you know that your kapha body type is, little on the excess. That means you have to moderate your food to have food that is putting on lesser weight. I'll come to that. For example, too much of rice, wheat, too much of dal, uh, too much of milk and milk products. I'll look at milk and milk products. It's not food for even mammals after the age of 3. So we look at that. There are 1 2 slides on that. No, 3 4 slides. I'll go through them fast. But that's from page 120 to 125 in my book. So overall, if you are underweight, then obviously you have to eat certain foods that have got more earth element, but those foods should be in the category of food for human beings, right? And if you want to lose excess weight, then still you eat certain foods and reduce the rice and wheat and dal, bring in millets. So we'll come to that little later. and but still they should be in the category of food for human beings. So that is the overall tip that I'm just giving now. And so balancing your raw and amount of cooked food in your day, slow transition to that will start either as per your choice, reducing your body weight or increasing your body weight as per what you need. So up till now, any questions from anybody on the basics that I gave? So before any questions come, I'll just complete one section. Yeah, people try to be a little more scientific, and they say, okay, let's do some testing in the laboratory and do blood work. And there are certain deficiencies in you have been eating only vegetarian food or you're a vegan, and your blood reports are showing that there are some deficiencies. So, in my book, and maybe today, I will give you certain conditions like intestinal inflammation, intrinsic factor of the stomach and intestines going down. Then, because of that inflammation, from the vegetarian food that you're eating, your body can't even absorb the nutrients. So, you will have lesser nutrients in the body. Secondly, is that all our plants, you see, all other species living in the wild, they're eating on natural organic soils, the way the soil is made. But we, even, our commercial farming and all, NPK, they're just three minerals. What about the other 75 minerals? Okay, you grow things in the soil, then you harvest them. They are taking up the minerals. And then when you're doing your next crop, all you think is that, okay, I just have to put NPK in my soil. And those trace elements, minerals are not there. So our foods itself, through our wrong farming practices, do not have enough minerals in them, then from where are they going to come in your body, right? They're not having, and the evidence of this is the uh, fruits and vegetables not having enough color. You see, when I grew on soil over here, where farming was never done on my plot, just some grasses grew. How deep do the roots of the grass go? Just hardly 1, 2, 3 inches. Some go a little deeper, some are wide. They don't go in more than 4, 5 inches in the ground. And when I grew bhendi and tainli and all, those roots went like 2 feet into the ground. So for the first time on this plot of land here, plants went and took nutrients from the soil, 1, 2 feet deep in the soil. And what happened is, I got my seeds of bhendi, for example, okra, from my traditional farmer here only, heirloom seeds that were always grown in Goa. And on his fields, their fields in Goa, it's growing to 5 and 6 feet. When you go to harvest okra, it's to the height of the person, hardly beyond that. But when I grew on my soil, the first year, the trees turned out to be 12 feet. Where is 6 feet and where is 12 feet? So that is what 75, the actual soil with all its minerals, what they give you. And if we are harvesting from 5, 6 feet, trees of okra, it is already confirmed that you are growing on demineralized soil. You do not have the nutrients. So now, if you're going to eat from all commercial farms from demineralized soils where these plants itself don't have the full range of nutrients in their abundance and right proportion, we are also not getting those. So now, what for me it is a trick that they will say, okay, you're vegetarian, vegan, you're not getting enough of this. Now you need to eat pink salmon and you need to eat red meat because they have got that. So what is the trick? I mean, just to eat that 100 grams of a meat or a fish, how many years of food that fish has been eating, that goat has been eating, it's bioaccumulated and all over there. That is the trick. So obviously it's got more nutrients, right? But what is the science that keeps an organic goat or an organic cow healthy all through their life? And they're just eating, what range of food do they eat? They just eat 5, 10, 12, 20 grasses. And we are human beings having a range of 300 things that we eat, right? So so this is the reason why this whole movement that I am involved in, getting people out of the cities, back onto the land, eco villages. We're trying to do right farming practices, have use heirloom seeds, walk bare feet, drink mineral water. So the cycle is completing now. from the artificial environment where you've had to artificialize your food and cook it, this, it, that, it, eat meats and nutrient dense things, right? Now we're coming back to the land, we're going back to the original environment. So that's what I've been telling people. You can, everybody, the Kaf Pit Vayu type person can eat 100% natural raw food once you're living on the land. You're drinking fresh water from brooks and streams that are also in wells. Wells are always there because underneath there's a water, current flowing. So if you draw out water from the well regularly, the new water is coming and the minerals are flowing. So that's what is going on with some of the scientific approach in the laboratory, and that way, that science just takes in one into one direction. That hey, if I'm just supposed to eat something around here that has got all the right mineral balance and all, we may end up saying that let's go and eat human beings. That human being, yeah, he's got all the minerals. His blood work is great. So why don't we eat that? But that is not the real science. Okay, it's unlawful, of course. Cannibalism days are over. But this is the right science. When you live on the land, then you will understand the science of well mineralized soils getting all the nutrients. So it's only the plants are the only species on this planet who make food, and they make it out of the five elements. They take from their roots the earth element, water element, fire element from the sun, air element, of course, with nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and all of that, and space element. Now, somebody will say, what does plant do with a space element? Well, a plant cannot grow inside a rock, right? It needs movement, it needs space to do all of its functions. So it's the plants who take all of the five elements, make their bodies, and through that, uh, their bodies become our food. And I just want to caution in this also. So as plants are growing, see, they are into biological warfare. Yeah, they, out of all these elements, they make what is simple word I'll use. You can get the chemical names in so many places. They make natural microtoxins. The plant secretes every day small amount of toxins through their stem, through their leaves, and all that. Yeah, they're not jokers. They know how to survive all these pests and insects and all trying to eat them. The plant has perfected biological warfare. That means it will grow to its stage, secrete toxins every day till it gets to the seeding or fruiting stage. And that fruit is an offering. It has got no microtoxins. That bean, that pea, that pumpkin, that watermelon, mango, everything. It's a pure offering by the plant that please eat me, take me in, propagate my seeds all across the place. So, so that's why. So in our food pyramid, you saw that eating the plant body, that palak and all that was not so tasty anyway. So that's why I say plant body, eat a little bit less of it, like the stems and the leaves of plants and all. They were anyway in the experiment not your first food. Only what was tasty to the tongue was our first food. Okay, so the carrots were, the beetroot were. Yeah. Now, um, so so this is that. Yeah, I just wanted to complete this part of what is being done right now. Is because we have made so many mistakes, not only with our surroundings, artificial environment, but with all of our soils that are plant material. So I said this in the previous workshop also. If I make this sign, I call it a scientific statement that plants are the biggest, visible creator, hand of creator on the planet. In fact, they have made our entire physical body. Now, who can debate that and say no? The body is not made completely by plant material. Of course, the soul comes from higher dimensions, it's an energy field, and that's another topic when we get into that sphere of discussion. But we at least know that any human being who stops eating these plant things is going to wither away and die. The body is going to dry out. So this is the big science, and here we are wondering our plants are food or not. I mean, plants have made our entire body. So, yes. So, any questions up till this part? Please go ahead.
You did mention the raw foods, but the raw foods based upon the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the list of the raw food
Yes.
you have mentioned in your one of the chapters, yeah, based upon that.
Yes. So, in my book, yeah, there are chapters on food. One chapter which talks about acidic, alkaline foods and all of these. So the first thing we have to remember, whatever in its natural form has got some taste for the human body, that is the food for you at that time. Now, when you will eat an excess of fruits, like a lot of sugar. At one point of your time, if you're doing fruits twice, thrice a day, after 1, 2 months, your body is going to be like too much of sweetness. Then you will go and catch a celery stick and say, "My God, this is damn, it's tasty. Celery is suddenly so tasty. Suddenly this cucumber is so tasty." Or suddenly you will go and eat something bitter. That's the internal senses, taste, and all of this. It goes to the brain, comes back to the body, and sensitizes your taste buds. So, like I gave the example of the dog and the cat who went and ate some herbal leaves. These dogs were eating lemongrass. I had, you know, 5, 6 bushes of lemongrass, and towards the edge of my thing, I had taken all the snaps. All of this side is totally eaten. Okay, the first 2 bushes. So that is from the outside gate. So those dogs and cats, they don't eat lemongrass every day. Only when the stomach gets upset, then and they are vomiting, then there is some signal going to the brain. It makes the tongue sensitive that now you go and eat something bitter. Now you go and eat something that is smelling pungent. Okay, so that's how they do it. And so if we go all the time with our natural senses, when we are sick, if somebody says, "I don't feel like eating sweet, give me give me sour lime, give me, something karela, or give me just, herbal tea of lemongrass." If you take it naturally, that's the body telling you the medicine. So, so yeah, with raw foods, if we do that, we will be mostly on track, right? So now I will come to this next part of the science. Uh, yeah, so first is dietary obesity. So again, it's a question before saying anything, because we, all of us, already have the science. When are we supposed to eat, grains like wheat and rice? I mean, a doctor will tell you eat it every day of your life. What is wrong with you? What a stupid question. But when we look at living sciences and we look at nature, what do we see? How is it? What happens naturally? When does rice and wheat in nature get produced on its own? It is during the monsoons. If the previous season's grains were fallen on the ground and the birds didn't eat it up, or human beings didn't harvest all of it, then as the monsoons start, first time the grain gets soaked for 8, 10, 12 hours, it becomes soft and the grain releases phytic acid out. It secretes it out. And after phytic acid is come out from the grain, then the process of life or then the germination starts. So what is phytic acid? As the grain dries up and all, phytic acid gets stored in it. What is phytic acid? Phytic acid, very simply, is that acid that stops the process of life. Because if the rains didn't fall that year, what would happen? The rice and wheat would be on the ground. Then October, November, December in India, for example, January, February, March, April, May, all summer, that grain will not sprout. In Goa, it gets up to 82 and 84% in summer. Still, that much also of humidity is not enough for the grain to sprout. You have to wait for the next year of rains. The grain has to get soaked. So phytic acid is something so powerful. I'm just sharing with you all because that should not be in our OTs. So phytic acid is that which stops the process of life and germination. It is an anti-nutrient. It works against digestive enzymes and metabolic enzymes of the human body. Okay, so that's why we soak the rajma, the dal, the rice, and we should even be soaking the millets. We should also be soaking the almonds and the walnuts and all of that. Let their phytic acid come out. Okay, so now coming back to this, so other species on the planet that are close to us who eat fruits, nuts, beans, peas, and grains also, they get it only after the so in the monsoons now it will rain, the grasses will grow till September and all, then it will stop raining, everything dries up in October, and it's fallen on the ground, and it's there in November, December, January till next June. Okay, till April, May, till the end of May, it's lying on the ground. And in those November, December, many of the summer fruits and all are gone. So this is that, the experiment that I did with y'all of taking out one food after the other. So these species, suddenly the fruits are not there, maybe root vegetables are not there. Then they just have these dried grains and few nuts that have fallen at the, tree, at the base of the tree, some things that are dried up. So they will eat these grains and these nuts and all during November, December. Now, these rice and wheat, they are complex carbohydrates. That is, all of it gets converted. They have a lot of glucose in it. So that gets converted into glucose and that comes in your bloodstream. That is what people are talking about as, higher sugar levels. So, the doctor says if you got sugar, too much high sugar, then stop rice and immediately next 1 2 days your sugar levels come lower. But there are other things that cause diabetes, which is there in my diabetes workshop. Too much of rice and wheat is a trigger which brings high glucose levels. And then, because there is so much glucose in the blood, you're eating rice and wheat 4 times a day. Then, obviously, the pancreas has to make insulin, and that insulin will be in the blood. Okay, so much of insulin in the blood is not an autoimmune disease with that they think it is. And when there's too much of insulin in the blood and the blood is supplied to all your organs, liver, kidney, brain, and you start getting this insulin resistance of the kidneys, of the liver, of the brain, you call it an autoimmune disease. So that is not an autoimmune disease. The trigger is human beings eating too much rice and wheat. So I'll continue this example. So because other things are not available in the time of scarcity, these species will eat a little bit of nuts, wheat, and rice. Now these are complex carbohydrates, and anything excess eaten. What is excess? Uh, the food you eat today is meant to do your work for tomorrow, day after, and all of that. So input and output must balance. But if input is higher, that means you're eating more of rice and wheat, which gets converted into this glucose, glycogen, then excess of it gets stored as fat on the body. And so this fat gets built up in the winter season. And that is a good mechanism. All the species who could build up fat in the winter season, they did not die of cold and all of that, and they survived. So putting on the fat, they do, and you will see this in National Geographic on other species. They're putting on fat in the November, December, Jan months. And then when February, March, April, when spring comes again, they once again go back to the tasty fruits and vegetables and all of that. They stop eating these grains because they are not so tasty anyway. Like you saw, it was not your first preference. So they leave and they go to that. And then in the process of finding their fruits, vegetables, and doing that exercise and all, the excess fat gets burnt out. And you will see all these species, they lose their fat by the time it is February, March. Especially that Feb also the cold month, somewhere in March, April, they lose excess fat. But we human beings will keep on eating the same amount of wheat and rice in February, March, April, May, June, all throughout the year. So this is how we end up with excess fat. Excess glucose equals excess insulin. Excess insulin equals diabetes type 2. So this is it. So morning also we're having idli and all of that. And of course for lunch we do have rice or wheat. Evening tea time, some of the snacks also are made of wheat or rice. Dinner time, some people claim they're having salads, but in the salad also there's pasta and noodles and all of that. So this is what I explained. Overdose of complex carbs in rice and wheat, making too much glucose, creating fatigue on the pancreas. Diabetes type 1, which is juvenile diabetes, is of a different type. It's when the islets of Langerhans stop producing insulin. That in all the cases that I've researched so far, they have had some infection of parasites. Those parasites, they kill the islets of Langerhans, and within 3-4 days itself, suddenly their sugar is 400, 500 because no insulin production is there by the pancreas because the islets of Langerhans are dead. So that's type 1 diabetes. But this food based diabetes of too much complex carbs is type 2 diabetes. I explained about that insulin resistance of organs. It's only because that much amount of insulin is not the normal composition of blood, but you're forcing your body to make that insulin because of the excess of complex carbs. Why they are fed so much of grain? Because it's very cheap. I mean, you just till the land with a tractor, throw at the same time you're throwing the grains, then the monsoons comes down, then the grains grow up again with machines, you're collecting everything. The cheapest food. And third world countries like India, they just want to stuff you and put something in your food, and they want that your rice plate, you know, because of the poverty that is created in this country, people want a rice plate in 80 rupees, even now, the poor people. Whereas that is actually not the cost of one meal, right? So that's why we are fed too much of grain just to fill our stomachs, but it is unhealthy for us. Now the laborers, they are eating all of this complex carb and glucose, and they are burning it out every day because they are working physical labor, 8 hours a day. Whereas we city people are not burning out all that. We are sitting here and there and hardly 2 hours of physical work that we do. So less, 6 less hours of physical work. So when we eat the same amount of rice and wheat like them, we put on weight. So instead of this rice and wheat, what is better to eat? A non-complex carb with so much of glucose. So that's how millets come in. By weight, they have more minerals, vitamins, and fiber than rice or wheat. So you'll see that in my diet. The different millets, I will give the list in the diet chart. And also weight gain, lots of processed sugar, which puts on a lot of weight. But why do we want all of these mithai and all of that? Coke, Mirinda, Pepsi, sweet, chocolate, and all that? It is because we have violated natural law. Our first primary food, which is fruits, if a person doesn't have enough that their body requires, that means you will see in my diet chart, breakfast is one type of fruit only per day, not making it two, three things mixed. The next fruit you can have the next day or in the evening if you want. So when you don't have enough of natural sugar through the fruits, then you will have a deficiency of sugar in your body, which will translate into a sensitivity of your tongue and your smell for anything that is sweet. That's why you go to the mithai shop. Okay, so all those people have a sweet tooth. Sweet tooth is an illness. It is the malnutrition of your body of not having enough fruits every day. So once you have, if anybody has a sweet tooth, they will need to have right now two fruit meals a day. One in the morning for their first breakfast, the second in the evening at about 4, 5 p.m. And after about 21, 22 days, your lifelong depletion of natural sugars in all the cells of your body will get complete. And by 22nd, 23rd, 24th day, you will have no sweet tooth left. Okay, that means, see through this. through this, because of deficiency of sugar, we go in the mithai shop. What are we eating? Some mithais are just like that, milk and wheat. Okay, whereas both wheat and milk should not be part of our diet. So we make the biggest mistakes, and certainly not for obesity. I tell people that I'll explain about milk. It's not food for any mammal after the age of 3. And wheat also, it's gone through like 17, 18 genetic modifications. It can't even call it food. It's completely not required. So even for other people who have not got excess weight. So here are some again questions only. There's no mammal that's drinking its own mother's milk after the age of 3. But those who have not understood nutrition and are just reading magazines and fake science that are sponsored by the producers of the animal industry. Once they take the animal, they want to make full use of it and get the maximum profit. So of the skin, they will make the belts and the leather wallets and the shoes. Of the milk, they want to sell it everywhere across the planet. Of the meat, they want to make it fresh. They want to cure it, make processed meat, everything. So we know that animals are not our food. So this experience even you would have gone through in your life. You were drinking milk when you were young, of course, mother's breast milk. After that, uh, after the age of 2, 3, 4, maybe you were having cow's milk because they said continue it. But by the age of 4, 5, and 6, you start the smell. You stop liking the smell and the taste of milk. And when you start complaining and all, that's when your mother brings in the artillery. Okay, let's bombard him with Complan, Bonvita, Horlicks, and all. Mix it in that. So again, fooling the sense of the child, the sense of smell and taste. That's how the child brings this. Okay, this is proof that milk is not our food. And what is the taste in all of this? All of them are sweet. That is mimicking fruits. So, okay, are you realizing now? Strawberry ice cream, chiku ice cream, elaichi ice cream, mango ice cream, whatever, banana ice cream. All of these we are just eating fruits. Our body is thinking that it's eating fruits. Now, the chiku ice cream, if I come in the middle of you eating chiku ice cream in the ice cream parlor and I say, give me your cone. And with a machine, I suck out all the chiku flavor from it and I suck out all the sugar. And what is left is just white frozen cream. Is there any chance that you're going to finish that ice cream? There's no chance you will eat something that is tasteless and white. So this is how deep it is. It's everywhere. Okay, the sugar and changing our food taste and all that. And all sorts of lies right from my books in the in the school. It's in the school books it's written that cows give us their milk. Never have they video recorded in the history of humanity on this planet any cow coming from the wild, coming into a human being's house and sitting and posing for them to drink their milk, for us to drink their milk. Complete lies. We steal the milk, from the cows and all of that. So, why do mammals produce milk? Because of course there are no teeth when the baby is born. Some liquid has to go in. It's a formula by the mother. But then at the age of 4, all mammals, by 3, 4, 5, all mammals, they stop producing renin and lactase, which are the two digestive enzymes that break down milk. That means the design of the body itself is not expecting milk to come inside. And when we forcibly drink milk, then all of these things start affecting us. So obesity comes in here first. Cow's milk has 3 times the protein, excess protein, and 50% more fat than human milk. So we are forcing excess protein on ourselves and excess fat. Now look at the structure of milk. It's different protein itself. Human milk is lactalbumin, 14 gangstrong in molecular weight. Cows is casein, different molecule, weighing 233. if you do the ratio, it is 18 times heavier molecule we are putting in the human body. So creates a lot of acidity to break down that molecule of milk. So then this cow's milk, which is a mucus coating, coats the intestines, prevents the absorption of nutrients from other foods. It causes cataract, glaucoma, chronic cough, cold, sinus, asthma, intestinal bloating, gas, and cramps. Here, high fat in milk adds to muscle fat, thereby increasing their insulin resistance, and this is seen as high lipid profiles. So people who have overweight also have high lipid profiles, then they are pre-diabetic also because of that. So here is a picture of the insulin receptors that are waiting to receive insulin. But milk has got IGF-1, that's insulin-like growth factor 1, which are not insulin molecules. They get stuck to the insulin receptors, and then the insulin receptor malfunctions. It does not send the electrical signal through its nerve to the glucose port to open, and that's why glucose does not come in the cells. So all of this is a little deeper, which I explain in the diabetes chapter, why glucose does not get absorbed in the cell. So milk and milk products are one of those things that stop it. So anyway, for us today, it's just that this excess fat in milk is increasing the fat in our cells and making us put on weight. Then milk has got 30 times higher estrogen. Okay, whether it's pure milk, whether it's cheese, it is even worse. Paneer, cream, softie, smoothie, cheesecake, ice cream, all of that. 30 times higher hormone overdose we are giving to the body, and it triggers fat deposition and promotes diabetes. Also creates hormonal imbalance, PCOD, fibroids, and bulky uterus. I would add, it's in another slide, ovarian cancer, breast cancer, and all of that. So yeah, this is the complete list of problems that milk and milk products cause for the human body, because it is not supposed to be in the body of any mammal after the age of 3. So all mammals' bodies, it undergoes this change within it. Like I said, those digestive enzymes, our body stop producing. So eyesight problems, arthritis, cataract, glaucoma, bone problems, sinus, spondylitis, hormonal imbalance. We can get rid of all of these things by stopping milk and milk products, which are not required at all. So from where does the mother cow get all of the calcium and magnesium and protein and all in her milk? From plants and plant material, whether it's nuts, beans, peas, seeds. Okay, this is these percentages after taking out the water content from the vegetables, because as you know, meat and all that does not have any much water content. So after drawing out water content, it's showing that protein is even higher in the source of which is vegetables. So these charts are all on my website, Become Healthy or Extinct. There's a tab on nutrition. Of course, you will have access to this recording as well. You can note down all these things in more detail. Okay, so protein, calcium, magnesium, everything is there in abundance in all the plant material. Some more books that you can research on milk and milk products is the China study, the biggest study in the world, which shows why Chinese have lesser eye and bone problems, because they have herbal teas and they have learned not to drink milk and milk products traditionally. Okay, now that you have whatever McDonald's and Pizza Hut and all there, so the modern generation starts abusing their body with this. A Diet for a New America was one of the first, 5, 6 books that I researched on nutrition, and written by John Robbins. So this is the man from the Baskin and Robbins family. He chose to write that milk is a poison that is going to kill people, and obviously he chose to stick to the truth, and he got thrown out of the entire family and all their fortune of making people sick through milk and milk products. Milk, the Silent Killer by Dr. N.K. Sharma. It gives the complete detail. This book is just on milk, human breast milk and cow's milk and all the sicknesses. Here you can see it's causing, yeah, renal stones over there is kidney stones, arthritis, tumors, and even cancer, heart attacks, bronchitis, mums. So we can leave those animals, that white liquid from the animals, and we can make our own from all the nut milks. From this, you can make your cheeses, paneer, ice cream, softie, smoothie, cheesecake, lassi, chas, okay, everything. And your fermented milk and all that to get your probiotics. In my book, in the probiotics chapter, there is a section of how to make cultured vegetables. It's all from plant material. You can see here carrot, radish, cucumber, beetroot, onion, capsicum. And then there are fermented rice kanji, millet kanji. Very simple. The formula in 1 minute I will tell you is that cook a little excess rice, whether it's semi-polished rice or red rice. What you can see there is from my house, the red rice. We cook a little extra, so some of it remains at night. Then that we put in this earthen vessel. We cover it with drinking water, little, yeah, to the top level. Then we close it at night uh, with a clay cover or a wooden cover. And then in the morning, it gets fermented by itself. In the morning, we have it and call it kanji. Same thing can be done for millets. You take the millet grains, you cook them, eat your millets during the daytime, whatever the excess, you keep it like this, pull it down. Okay, you have to pull it down, bring it to room temperature, then put it in the earthen vessel, drink, add your drinking water, stir it a little bit so that you know it's the water is above the level of the grain. Cover it overnight. Morning, it will have a slight tinge of sour, and that's why it's fermented. And if you don't have time to eat in the morning, you can have it for lunch. It will be a little more sour, but still very tasty. And here is how you can get your fermented food. So you don't need lassi and chas and curd and all of that yogurt to get any of this. Because the strains of bacteria that we need are those that break down and digest these kind of foods. So in the chapter, it's shown how to make this. You should not scrape the carrot and the cucumber and the beetroot and all that. You should just wash it under running water because those small cuts and cracks and ridges on them, they have got the cultures that these vegetables have. Because those cultures, if you don't harvest this carrot and cucumber and all that, those are the bacteria that will break down this food. Okay. So those are the strains that need to go in our body to dissolve all this. We don't need the strains from milk and all to dissolve all this plant material. That was there only till our age of 3 years. So basically, the whole science of milk and curd and all is violating basic biology. So finally, if people are, giving up their tea and coffee, then you can have all the wonderful herbal teas. This is a page from my website. You can pick up 2, 3 herbal teas. I mean, now I don't sell them anymore. I don't have, supply stock of them. But you can read the health benefits of all of these teas. Some of them will be good for weight loss. Okay, for improving digestion. So pick some of those. Yeah, this is how they explained over there. Now, nettle tea will be it's good for diabetes, menopause, cramps, bloating, kidney stones, reduce hypertension, kidneys. Let me see. Uh, this one is not for weight loss, but there will be others there. Okay, so now I'm coming to what is our healthy diet. We are still in the section of dietary obesity. So, what is a good diet? You don't need to wake up at 7 o'clock. You may be waking up at 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. That is fine. But keep the gap between this. So, people with excess weight, this is very important. Okay. Once you wake up and do your washroom activity, you must do some, physical activity because that dinner that you ate at night, that is just sitting in your system. The principle of food is that it must be, if you want to be healthy, it must be continuously getting converted into energy. There must be a flow. It must not be stagnant. So this exercise is good because then it will build up the natural hunger that is going to feed your breakfast.